She doesn't even go here!
I'm bi, actually.
Excuse me. Could the ugly, untalented gays please report to the principal's office?
Hi, I'm Kurt Homo, and I'll be auditioning for the role of kicker.
Hello! Welcome in, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Not So Straight Nerds. I'm your host, Luke.
I'm your host, Alicia.
And today, we are talking Heartstopper Forever.
And ever. From Hamilton. They would love Hamilton. Anyways, yes, we're very excited. Obviously, we love Heartstopper. I literally have a tattoo of the leaves. Yeah. And also, before anything else, I wanted to shout out we have made a video on the show in case you're interested, because this will definitely be, I think, more focused on the movie. But obviously we love the show too, so go check out that video. We did it for my birthday episode, my birthday special. Thank you. Anyways, how's the vibe?
How are the vibes? The vibes are a little groggy.
Really?
But I'm very excited to talk about this movie.
I also woke up today and I was like, I got like 9 hours of sleep. Why am I exhausted right now? I did not want to leave my bed, but I wanted to do makeup looks. I've been into makeup the past 2 days. I don't know why. I go months not caring whatsoever about my makeup. And then I just ordered a rainbow eyeshadow palette. Cause I used to, I'll be honest. I used to own, before all the drama came out and everything, I used to own the James Charles palette. And it was great. But I have no idea where it is at this point. I probably threw it away, honestly, when all that stuff came out. And then now it's okay, who has one that's not his? And I found a dupe on Amazon. So it was okay, $10. That's worth it, right? Anyways, because I wanted to do some purple eyeshadow this morning, I realized I have no purple eyeshadow. I have 2 old crumbly palettes from 10 years ago that really need to be thrown away. So, yeah. Anyways.
What?
Now, we'll just get into it.
Yeah.
To it.
We'll say spoiler warning. We're talking through the entirety of Heartstopper. So, graphic novels, comics, movie, and show are all up for grabs. So,
for sure,
you have been warned.
And then I guess slight trigger warning. It's not going to be anything deep or detailed. But there is mention of one of the main characters going through a recovery process from having a eating disorder and self-harming. Now in this movie he is definitely in recovery, but it's not a straight line, and they talk about that. We won't go into a bunch of detail, and neither does the movie, but just throwing it out there. Yeah.
Surely.
My gosh, where should we start? Because I just put best parts. Usually for movies, we put best and worst parts, and it's no, it's just best parts, really. So
maybe let's talk expectations.
Okay.
So we get a season 3, and we watch season 3, and then we hear nothing for 5-6 months.
Yes, we're in Netflix jail, where we're it's over, we're cooked. If you don't hear anything within the first week or at least the first month, it is canceled, it's not happening. And then we find out we are getting a movie. It was a movie all along, I believe. Which I want to say it was around the time of Shadow and Bone, where we also hadn't heard anything, and then we heard about Heartstopper, so I was okay, and then that one got canceled. So yeah, I'm very happy that at least it didn't get canceled. And I'm wondering if that was always the plan, or if they wanted a season 4 but wasn't gonna get it, so they just got a movie. I don't know. Because it's kind of I wouldn't say a trend, but I'm thinking of The Summer I Turned Pretty is also having the same route, 3 seasons and then ending with a movie. Now, I'll be interested. I don't think the author has any plans whatsoever on writing another book for that movie, unlike Alice Oseman wrote a sixth novel for this movie. But we shall see. It's not a pattern, it's not a trend, because that's only one other example, but I don't know, maybe it's turning into a trend.
I've heard of
perhaps?
multiple showrunners wanting to end everything on a movie.
Yeah. Well, like, it reminds me of the Downton Abbey one. I don't know if that was a conclusion or not, but I know they made a movie and it was,
But
a long
long
show.
live Downton Abbey.
And then also I think of Peaky Blinders just also had one. Breaking Bad had one. I didn't even know about that. But it's not like a conclusion one. It was just like about Jesse.
Yeah, and I've heard that people don't. The common consensus I think I've picked up on it is people aren't crazy about it. I think people think it was fine.
Yeah. But it's certainly not the first time they've done this.
We're about to get an Avatar movie.
That's true. And at least this one wasn't treated the same way. Now, it didn't go into theaters, just like pretty much the Avatar movie in ways that matter. However, the Avatar movie has been handled so poorly, and so I'm glad that this one has been handled much better. I think I don't think it was ever gonna go into theaters because Netflix, but yeah, glad it wasn't leaked. I think
Yeah.
the entire thing. So
Yeah,
with
the
them.
author just put out a book talking about how it was going to end instead.
No, yeah, it's very exciting. I was very excited for this movie. I think it was both of our number one most anticipated of the year, and we were saying, a few months ago we didn't have a date, and so we were like, whatever year it comes out in, it actually like releases in, it will be our number one. So right now it says this year, and then it was.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And then it came out the same weekend or day or whatever of the Odyssey, and then had an Odyssey poster. We'll get there, but I thought that was kind of funny.
Iconic.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything to add to expectations?
Yeah, I mean, especially after literally coming to peace with us not getting any more and then getting a movie, it was very whiplashy.
Yes.
But also, I think, I think they didn't know if they were going to get another thing, because the end of season 3, which I think is the ending of book 5,
I believe so.
they have very different tones for like the last couple seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie really kind of picks up on the cliffhanger that book 5 ends on. So it feels like they wanted to be able to close the book there if they had needed to.
Mm-hmm.
Which, shows do cliffhangers all the time. And I feel like that was a pretty big cliffhanger, the whole. So I'm going to go to university across the country. And, instead they just don't have that line. And they're just in the place where they're supposed to say that line.
Yeah.
So I truly think that we weren't always going to get another part of this. I think, I think they had to fight for this.
I think so. But it kind of also reminds me a little bit of what's happening with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, where they are getting a final season, but it's only 4 episodes, which is crazy because the show is already only 6 episodes, and they were like pretty short. So it's like, okay, guys, what are we doing here? But the author said, guys, don't worry. There's a lot that happens in the 3rd book, but I made it work. She's like, it's going to be a busy 4 episodes, but everything's going to be in there.
She said, it'll buff.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just ultimately glad that we got a conclusion, and I think it was really well done. I'm excited to break it down.
Yeah. Ooh, something I do want to say. The last book of Heartstopper did release like a
10 days.
10 days before
Yes.
the movie came out. And you read it beforehand.
I did.
And I have not read that book. I think an important distinction going into this conversation.
Yeah. But I think it'll be interesting to talk about the different perspectives going into that. I will say I should add to my expectations that I did read it and knew what I was getting into, and I was very excited because the book is way more like Nick centered versus the other books I would say are more either equal or lean more towards Charlie centered, which I think is very appropriate for what they're talking about. But it was very exciting to get a book that I felt like was very Nick centered as well, because he had a lot to talk about and he had a lot to cover. So I was like, oh.
Speaking of the book, do you have any thoughts on the covers?
Listen, okay, I'm gonna try to show this without dropping everything on my cat right now. Hopefully you can see from the bottom to the top is the order of 1 through 6. And it goes pink, blue, green, yellow, orange. And you know, the next color logically would be red, right? It's purple. And I don't like it. I don't understand why they did that. It's not like they didn't clearly have a plan laid out here. Maybe there are rainbows that look like that. I don't know. But I don't like it. That's all I have to say. I was, first of all, opening the package, I was shocked at how big the last book was. It still only took me probably 2 or 3 hours to read, just because it's a graphic novel, so, you know, it's, like, faster. You have way less words to read. You just look at the pictures and then read, like, the little words. But she's thick, so, yeah, a lot of content, which is fun. But yeah, and then I finished it and put it away and looked at the spines and died a little bit inside. I am that, like, I know there are people out there that are like, I break the spine, I don't even care. I at least try not to break the spine. They're like, you know, I do the, what is it, doggy ears? It's like when you fold the corner of the page instead of using a bookmark. I would never do that in my entire life. I don't understand people who like can't do that. At least the spine, I'm like, okay, it looks like it's used, it looks like it's red, it's like it's giving like used library cute. But yeah, doggy ear, that's what it's called because it's the flap. Anyway, that's all. I'm done now. I'll move on.
Any specific expectations you got from the book that maybe you didn't from just what we had heard in the trailer?
Other than the Nick thing, I was just kind of excited for some scenes. I was excited for prom. I was excited for Pride. I was excited for Halloween, which we'll get there. Yeah, I just felt like it was a very good ending. I gave it 5 stars. Like, I don't know what to say. I just think it was kind of the perfect conclusion. So I was excited to see the movie do that, basically. I knew we were in for something good. So, yeah.
And I will say, because I haven't read that book, but I've read, I believe, the novella Nick and Charlie, which is basically at the very end of their story, and is a very infused part in the movie of them kind of having their first will they, won't they thing right before Nick goes off to university.
Which happens in this book, but it's a lot more positive. I mean, they definitely have insecurities and talk about things, but it does, I do think the movie integrated both books very well. I've also read Nick and Charlie. Thanks, Sue, you let me borrow yours. I forgot to have him take that and This Winter over here, but we've read all that anyways. And I'm sure you'll borrow and read this book at some point in life. But yeah, I think they combined those really well. I do feel like this was a much happier, which I like hesitate to say that because it was definitely still sad, but much happier. Like, it's missing Nick and Charlie. So I think I'm glad that the movie included that, even though it like makes you want to die for a second. I'm like, let's get past this, please. But But I think that's an important part to their story because it's like they are different, and I feel like everyone but them knows that sometimes. So when people are like, yeah, teenagers, they usually break up and like don't stay together, it's like nobody's really talking about them, but they don't know that until it's like too late, and then they're like, we're not talking about you. We all know you're perfect. Like, let's move on. Just get back together. But I think that's important because it's like insecurities and fears that are very real. And even in a relationship as strong as theirs, sometimes those things like do get in the way. But it's an important part to see how they get over that step. So, yeah. They're stronger in the end for it.
So, going into the actual movie itself, overall thoughts?
I loved it. I thought it was really well done. Pretty overall accurate to the book, and then just including Nick and Charlie, but that seemed pretty accurate from what I can remember. Now, it's been a few years since I've read Nick and Charlie, but I feel like they hit the big plot points of that. And the tweaks that they did make were either not a big deal overall or just made sense, I think. We'll talk about those specific changes in a little bit, but overall, I feel like it's a really good adaptation and just a really good conclusion in general. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, so what can I say? I actually gave it 9.5 out of 10 stars, and solely because they left out the Halloween scene. And I'm genuinely like distraught. I am genuinely so disappointed. Like I can joke about it or whatever, but I'm like, why? Why would you include something so fun and then not include it in the movie when it didn't have to be that long? Your movie wasn't that long anyways. You could have included a 2 to 3 minute scene of the Halloween party. But I knew the second they were like, oh yeah, it's like Christmas. I'm like, fuck, we're not getting that Halloween scene. It's fine. At least we still got a party scene where he was wearing such a good outfit. I'm like, you're rocking that. And Nick still had the line of like, he gets hotter every day. That's what he says in the Halloween scene. So I'm like, okay, whatever. You tried. It's fine. But yeah, that's my only like real complaint. I really liked everything else. I think everyone else's stories wrapped up very well. And I'm satisfied. What about you?
Right. No, I think this was a very good conclusion. I think it just kind of circles all of the themes that you would imagine a relationship going from high school to university would cover. And I think they do it in a way that really highlights the tone for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
The idea that, even if they do have great chemistry, they're not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And they will have issues that they will need to resolve,
Mm-hmm.
but they're going to get through it.
Yeah.
Something I've really loved about Heartstopper as a franchise is just the understanding from the get-go that it's like, they're going to be together. And
Yeah.
she's confirmed, Alice Oseman, the creator, that, they grow old together, and it's great. So, there's something, I think, relaxing about knowing that this gay love story isn't a tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And just really, I think that really frees them to really kind of explore themselves and the dynamics without creating a whole lot of stress on the viewer or reader.
Mm-hmm. It's like a rom-com. Like, at the end of the day, they're going to end up together.
Yeah, which I think...
Which is kind of fun. It's like a comfort going into the movie. It's going to have a happy ending.
Yeah, but I think also this story still manages to be really emotional and very deep without that tension, really.
Yeah.
It really allows a romance around these two characters going through things, which I think is great.
I don't think it ever, like, gets to the point of they're, like, toxic. Like, obviously they have problems, they make mistakes, but I think there's a difference between that insecurities and struggles getting in the way versus something being toxic. Like, I don't feel like they ever get there, which is nice. They're just a regular couple going through regular couple struggles and figuring out ways to get through that in their own way. I think that's awesome, especially at such a young age. I think that's very, like, aw, good for
Absolutely.
you guys. But yeah, and they have different stories too. It's not just like, obviously the books are very heavily focused on Nick and Charlie, but the show I think does a good job at, obviously they're still the main characters, like, for sure, but they have so many other couples with different dynamics and different types of relationships and different struggles that they explore as well. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't always work out for them, or at least not forever. We'll talk about that. Certain couples, they have different paths. But I think that's nice, because not every couple is, you know, gonna have the same trajectory. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe next, I can transition our conversation to talking about this amazing cast.
Yes. No, actually, shout out to everyone in this cast. I think they're all very well cast. They're all very fun and interesting to watch. I want to shout out. Where do we even start? I guess our two main characters.
Surely.
Kit
Nick
Connor
and
and Joe
Charlie.
Locke. For Nick and Charlie. They're so perfect that it's like everyone wants them to be a couple again in the Marvel universe, just because they can't get enough of them, and I love that. And they're both so talented and have many projects coming up, as they should. So we will see them again for sure. We'll also have a conversation where are we going to see the cast members next. And a decent amount of them have stuff coming up, but I hope the rest of them find things as well now that they have time.
Yeah, and you know, I think this is a crazy talented cast, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm very glad that Kit Connor and Joe Locke had such were like lightning rods out of Heartstopper.
Yeah.
It's not all the time you see such talent being recognized in something and that carrying over all the time.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that it happened for these two.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of those, it's like, I love when a show, like, I think of The Summer I Turned Pretty Again, where obviously we have plenty of issues with that show. We have videos on that. But I do feel like the most talented cast members out of that cast are getting the most work. And that's always nice to see. Here, it's hard. I wouldn't say the same thing, because I feel like they're all talented and they're not all getting work. But I hope they do. And, you know, the main ones I feel like are getting work one way or another. So I'm just happy for them. But especially our two main characters, I agree. It's nice. Like, I also think of Heated Rivalry. You know, that could have definitely been one where, you know, maybe people didn't watch it, but obviously people did and they loved it, and it became this huge thing that just like can't be ignored, and I love that. And now both actors are like widely in demand, so good for them. That's always nice to see some talented people who create something big. I think of Obsession as well. You know, that could have been a small thing, but again, people loved it and ran with it and made it this big thing that you just have to see. I saw this creator, I don't know if I'm saying this right. I don't even know if this is her real name, but it's like Jay Stoobs. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But she's on TikTok. She talks about movies and shows a lot. But she was talking about how she feels like, you know, having good taste is becoming cool again and becoming like the norm, where like some big movies this year that probably should have made a lot of money are not making a lot of money, like Moana and He-Man or Master of the Universe, whatever. There are a few other examples. But then you have movies like Obsession, Backrooms. She had so many other examples. She's a lot more like organized in her brain than I am.
Surely.
But a lot of those are, it's like having good taste in movies is becoming cool again. It's becoming popular where people, it's not necessarily they see the biggest movie ever, but it's like, what are people liking? What is worth me seeing right now? And that's very refreshing. It's not that necessarily that people are investing in higher quality of art. I feel like there's always been great art coming out. They just haven't always been appreciated. So anyways.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think some of the stuff that's found success this year would not have a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So, I agree. I'd love to see that shift.
Mhm.
Maybe we can highlight some of the other cast members that do standout jobs here.
Yeah, for sure. Let's look at the cast here.
I want to shout out Yasmin Finney.
Yes, I was just about to say.
I think she is so fun here. It's also really fun seeing how big she is as herself on the set. And then she plays a character who is a lot more, I think, internal and a little quieter.
Yeah.
And I think that the dynamic is really fun.
I agree.
But here, and obviously here, she's saying the things that need to be said.
Which is not in the book, and I do find that interesting. But I'm glad that they included that in the movie. I feel like that needs to be said, especially right now. Not just in America, but
Yeah, certainly everywhere.
So,
but I had a thought whenever she was talking to Charlie in his room. I was like, her voice is so unique for some reason. I want to see how she would do at voice acting. She has such a sultry voice.
Yeah.
And the way it blends with her accent, it's kind of giving Wildwood vibes. And I'm like, I think you need to call your manager and find a really good movie to hop into. I think you could do some wonders.
Yeah. That would be very fun. She was recently in, I do not have her on the list of any upcoming things because I did not find any, but earlier this year, she did a short film with Javier Bardem, which was very fun because he's a big name. So that's very exciting for her. So let's keep that trajectory though. Let's show her some love. But yeah, I would love that because there are first of all, voice actors are underappreciated, but also I feel like it's also sometimes they're getting big names to do voice acting, and that sometimes that works out, but sometimes it doesn't. So it'd be nice to have someone, like you said, who I also agree, I feel like has a voice that just sounds interesting to listen to. And it sounds like obviously she's very talented, so she would put in effort to make something fun.
There's something to be said because voice actors are certainly, to voice act is a talent of its own, and it is very different from normal acting.
Yes.
But there's elements that I think from acting go into it that I think good actors can make that jump.
Yes.
And then there's Chris Pratt as Mari.
No, that's exactly who I was thinking of the entire time I was talking about that. I was like, and then you have, Chris Pratt, who's clearly a money grab. So, no, that's exactly who I was thinking of. I want to shout out Toby Donovan. Obviously, his character is very important to me, but I also just think he's such a cutie pie and such an interesting character. It's so sad that he's not in the books because I'm like, he'd be so fun to just pop up and be like, hey, with his little book and every other thing. Because he's like that in the show and the movie too. So I think he does a great job, and I love the little behind the scenes stuff that he posts about Heartstopper. So go him.
I'm next gonna shout out Jenny Walser, and who is Tori, and the actor for Michael, who is Darag Hand. I believe I'm saying that right. I think They are so adorable.
Mhm.
I think they're cast really well.
Yeah.
And you know what? I really wish in some timeline we got to see some adaptation of Solitaire.
Mhm.
Because, oh my gosh, they're like, the casting is so great. It feels so bizarre that you don't see them more.
Yeah. I wish they did some, like Euphoria did those one-off episodes. I think something along those lines would have been fun for some of the novellas. Like Solitaire would have been fun, but what can you do?
But needless to say, here,
Because that's what started it all, really. And that was like Alice Oseman's first book, so.
absolutely.
Mm.
But I think even here, the little talk that Tori has with Charlie,
Mhm.
I think it's very constructive and very important, talking about how
Yeah.
their dynamic in their relationship is different from how other normal relationships are, and people conventional.
Yeah.
But, it works for them. And
Mhm.
who cares what anyone else thinks?
Yeah. Period.
Love that for you, girl.
Mhm. No, I totally agree. I think she was obviously very fun in the first season when all she was doing was popping up and drinking a little drink. But I love that she still had that in the movie. She still had her little spinny straw, and I'm like, I still love those straws. Where are those? I need to buy some. No, but she is also very, very fun, and I do also love their relationship. Yeah. Period. I want to shout out Corinna Brown and I'm gonna say this wrong. Kizzy Edgil.
Sure, Kizzy Edgel.
I don't know. The people who play Tara Jones and Darcy Olsen. I also love their relationship so much. I have loved reading about them in the books. I loved watching the adaptation of it in the show, how they get obviously a lot more time and effort put into their story. Again, that's kind of like what we talked about earlier. The show, I think, does a very good job at including so many other characters and relationships. And, they have Imogen and Sahar separately and then together. I think they've also done a good job with them. Toby and what's his face? I forgot his name, and the brief little thing that they thought they might have, and then they didn't. But he was in the movie too, because he was at Pride for a very quick second. So,
James.
I was wanting to say Jack, and I was like, that's not correct. Yes, James. Even that was very important and very, I thought, well done. So, yeah. I don't know. I just love the friend group. I think one of the most emotional parts of this movie was at prom when they were all taking pictures together. It just felt so much like a goodbye, but a very bittersweet one. Obviously we're gonna miss them, but we have such a great adaptation of them that we can always come back to. Always find our place back home.
Yeah, no, this show and this whole franchise really highlights the importance of queer community and queer spaces and queer relationships.
Yeah.
Both, romantic and not. And it really highlights the value in that. And then here you see the whole club organization, and the world is a lot more queer than it looks on the surface. And there's so many different ways, to be queer. So this show does so much work to really show all of the different forms that queer love can take, and I think that just makes it oh so special to me.
Yeah, I agree. I also want to shout, I don't even know her name, but the woman who played Nick's mom in this movie, I thought she did a solid job considering she's to follow Olivia Colman.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to her, she's not Olivia Colman in this movie.
But,
but
no one's Olivia Colman.
Yeah. She doesn't have the just initial warm energy. But I think she does a solid job. And
and that is
she does her job here.
Sorry, that is Anna Maxwell Martin.
Okay. I've seen her in something else. I don't know what. But yeah, I'm like, props to you. I would have been terrified to follow up Olivia Colman.
But you know what? It feels like they have very different approaches to the character, which I think both work really well.
Yeah.
I think Olivia Colman's performance really just adds so much like warmth to that character.
Yeah.
I think, you know, the Olivia Colman effect. I think way more than is necessarily in the books.
Yeah.
Whereas here I think it feels a lot more grounded. But I think it still really works. I think it's a lot more gentle than I think Olivia Colman gives a lot more outgoing charm. But I think both work. It's like the difference between a fireworks show and like a log campfire. You know, both have their places, and both, when done well, can work wonders.
Lastly, for me, I want to shout out Willem Gao. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Hopefully I am.
William Gao?
Yeah, the person who plays Tao. First of all, props to you for sticking through after that horrible haircut they gave you in season 1. You stuck it out, and props to you for that, because it got so much better, like, immediately.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like you could easily become a pretty unlikable character. Like, even in the books, I think he is sometimes not that fun to read about. And there's more of him in the show. But I think he does a very good job at still making him a likable character, even when he's doing unlikable things. Especially in those earlier seasons when he feels like he's losing Charlie as a friend, and he's very insecure and deals with that in a very immature way. Like, I don't know. He's still interesting to watch. And obviously he becomes more likable. He gets over it. And then he has a lot of very sweet moments with Nick. And I love that they brought that back for this movie. They definitely had a parallel to when they last talked in the Halloween episode, where Nick was definitely struggling. And I loved that now Nick got to comfort Tao. I was like, that's such a beautiful way to wrap this up. Like, it's just such a good conclusion. Please, guys, go watch it. I'm sure you will, but
no, and I think
so good.
I think season 2 does a lot for Tao.
Yeah.
Not just the haircut.
Yeah.
But I think going into and adding the depth of his father, and being raised by his mother, and seeing that dynamic, I think that adds a lot of, you know, reasonable motivation behind how intensely he be holding on to people.
Yeah.
And I think that adds a lot of nuance to the character. I think there's so much nuance in this show.
And I still feel like he has some of those elements in the movie as well. I think of that scene where him and Elle have their last dance, and then you just see him kind of looking at her longingly. I feel like that's still a little bit some crumbs of that, like not wanting to let go. But it's also, you know, he is letting go. He is like letting that and trusting whatever happens with that, which he would not have done season 1. So he has grown, and I love that for him.
Yeah, there's a big element of Tao where you can really lose the things you love by holding too tight. And, you know, we'll circle back to this in like 30 minutes when we start our Odyssey episode. But it's like surrendering to life and, you know, finding peace with what happens. And that's very Tao's arc. Call him Odysseus.
No, and I love that he was a model. I think this is one of his first acting gigs, maybe his first. But he was a model beforehand, which a lot of people were talking about. So they're like, that's why they had to give him the haircut, because they had to make him like not beautiful. And then he wore this scarf, this such like model ass scarf in the movie. You were like, only a model could pull that off, and it's so true. I'm like, wow, you are rocking that.
You know what I will say though? On the more critiquey side of this movie, I do think in going from a show to a movie, I think tragically Imogen Sahar and Tara and Darcy.
Mm-hmm.
I so wish we had more time with them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after I think seasons 2 and 3 do a really good job of balancing all of the characters' arcs.
Yeah.
I think I do feel sad that they're a little on the wayside and they're more involved in the overall group feelings in this movie. But, you know.
It's hard. I just feel like they didn't know what to do with them, at least Tara and Darcy, because we'll talk about this as well, but a lot of the things that happens with them in the last book already happened in season 3.
Yes.
I guess we might as well just say it. It's very quick, but Darcy gets kicked out. Their mom kicks them out. And that happens in the last book. And I did confirm that. I thought I was going crazy. It did happen in the last book. And then they decide to go travel and like backpacking.
Yeah.
But Darcy gets kicked out in season 3. And another thing is Darcy uses they them pronouns in the last book, but that has also already been established in season 3 as well. So it's like they just didn't have any new content to work with, I guess, which is disappointing.
Yeah. Especially I think because Tara's not going to university anymore. She's taking a gap year.
Yeah.
So it is interesting. That does leave Nick in a fairly isolating predicament. Insane.
Just because he's going by himself? I mean, she was trying to go to Oxford, not Leeds.
Yes, but the idea that you're going to a long-distance relationship all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? How do you feel? Because in Nick and Charlie, the whole reason that I think Nick approaches Charlie again, and it's been a hot second since I've read this, so apologies if I'm not 100% on this, but Tao does tell Nick that him and Elle are going to try it again, and, you know, it's either going to work out or not, but, you know, what are we going to lose if we don't try? And that's definitely not exactly the tone they're ending on between Elle and Tao. It's giving a lot more, we're gonna go be people, we're always gonna be there, and we'll see. Yeah.
That, what they did in the movie is definitely what they did in the book. That is very, like, they're like, if we come back together someday in a romantic way, then great, but if we don't, you know, we're just kind of gonna let life decide, basically. And then in the epilogue, they have that, like, reuniting, like, they're probably gonna get back together suggestion, just like they do in the movie. And I actually like that a lot better. I don't remember what happened in Nick and Charlie, so I'll just take your word for it. And I actually like that they did not do that, because I like that it was not dependent on someone else's relationship. It was purely just like, you're obviously miserable on your own, and you're like, for what? Like, you're not every other relationship. And I in the book, it's much more like his mom. Now, in the book, I don't believe they actually, like, break up, because that happens in Nick and Charlie. But his mom, they have, like, a lot of miscommunication, and his mom is the one to be like, you know, you are not me and your father. You were not every other relationship. Like, you have something special, and that could be hard to navigate because so many other people don't have that. So you don't have a good example of what that looks like in your life. She's the one, I would say, to kind of push them back together to start communicating about their insecurities and everything. Which I like that a lot better. Where she basically just makes, it's kind of the opposite. Instead of, like, seeing someone else and their relationship kind of model and be like, oh, well, they're getting back together, let's get back together. Instead, it's very much, we're our own thing. Like, let's not look at anybody else. Yeah. And I love that message so much more.
Absolutely.
Especially for Nick and Charlie. I think that works much better for their relationship. So,
yeah. I saw a comment on this movie saying that every season they're dealing with miscommunication in a negative term. I think that this show and to movie finds different ways to highlight that miscommunication. in this movie, it really, I think, highlights that Nick is so used to being the shoulder to cry on that he doesn't know how to do the reverse. And I think that is something that's been built up in the show, but I don't think that's ever been a point of conflict between them yet.
Yeah. Well, like, as someone who hates the miscommunication trope, it's only when I feel like it's unnecessary, like when they're like grown adults and they just don't talk to each other and it's really like for no reason. In this show, first of all, they're young and young people are dumb. Like, that's just they're supposed to be like, it's like, I don't know, the whole point is you're supposed to learn how to communicate and how to like be better in your actions. That's kind of the whole point. Season 1 is very like they always do have a miscommunication, but it's very valid. Obviously season 1, Nick is struggling with his sexuality. Charlie's trying to learn, how to navigate that as someone who kind of just came out of a situationship where it's like he never, he was always saying, but then he never followed through on it. So he's trying to decide if Nick is different. Season 2, I think, was more so coming out as a couple and to their families, navigating that, how to be a couple now. Season 3 was obviously like Charlie struggling at like its peak with his eating disorder, and then them being separated and Nick not knowing how to deal with that. And then yeah, you're right, like the movie was more focused on Nick and his insecurities and how that's creating miscommunication. But it's like all very, very valid things. You're always going to have miscommunication in relationships, but it's like, how do you overcome that? How do you navigate that? And why are you miscommunicating? I feel like they always have very valid reasons.
Yeah.
And they overcome it in good ways. So it's not like the Vampire Diaries where they kind of just kiss and make up and they're like, it's a lot healthier in Heartstopper. So yeah, I don't have a problem. I agree that they have miscommunication and everything, but it's like conflict has to come from somewhere, and at least the miscommunication makes sense and they deal with it in a good way. A good example of a bad miscommunication is Exo Kitty season 3.
Clock that.
So there you go. To the point where it seems like out of character, that's when I'm like, this is stupid. Let's move on. Anyways. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Another thing I want to shout out this movie for, I will say, I love the music in Heartstopper. Seasons 1 and 2, I have like maybe 80% of those songs downloaded on a playlist.
Yes.
And then season 3 happened, and you know what? I feel like the music was nowhere near the highlight I think it was for the other 2 seasons. Like, I have maybe 5 songs downloaded from that season. And now I'm going to make a playlist of this movie's music, because guys, we're back.
Yeah, you probably remember I said probably 2 or 3 times, maybe more, like, I'm downloading this song. And in the book, they have Nick creates a playlist to Charlie from Nick. And first of all, in case you're dumb like me, look in the back of the book. They have the full playlist. I was taking a screenshot or a picture of the page where it had like the little icon. It has like 3 songs before it's cut off. They have the full list in the back. So just keep going.
Silly.
Guys. I was like, why don't they have the... Anyways, don't struggle like me. Yes, I shouted out the soundtrack as well. Let's see. Anything else I didn't shout out? I like that they highlighted that recovery is not a straight line. That obviously you can still, like, it's never going to be like a cold that you get over. It's always going to be there. It's just learning how to manage it and how to manage when you have like triggers, I guess. That's not the word I'm looking for, but when you have like flare-ups. Again, that's not what I'm looking for, but anyways. I really liked Nick and David's conversation and Nick and Sarah's conversation. Sarah's is Nick's mom, about their dad. I will say I wish they kept the conversation Nick had with Charlie. I think it's just because they have Nick and Charlie, the novella, like in here, that it's different. But in the book, they miscommunicate a lot. But then he finally, like, after having those conversations, has a conversation with Charlie and opens up about his dad and like why he has the insecurities he has. And it's a very sweet moment, and I do wish they kept that, but it's okay. They figured it out.
Yeah.
I like the fort that they built. It was so cute. I love the line from the art teacher that queer people have historically never asked permission to exist. Period. He's like, oh yeah, the principal's not letting you do this club. What if we just like do it anyways?
Legend.
And yeah, and they do the same thing.
Him and Farouk are so charming.
I love Alfie. Speaking of like the queer club that they start, Alfie is such a cute character in the books, and then I saw him voting and I was like, I remember that kid because I think that's him. He's like adorably smaller than everybody else, and I'm like, that's him, right?
No, whenever Charlie is putting up the little like grab for like if you're being bullied thing on the board and Alfie's watching him and then he like walks away quietly, Charlie, he can't reach that. And he's like the most bullied. Dude, you're gatekeeping the no bullying policy.
So you must be this tall to not be bullied. That's crazy. No, but that was, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I adore him. He talked for the first time and I'm like, I would die for you. Like, I'm about to cry right now. He's 3 apples tall, Your Honor.
Like, really, he is.
No, but like, actually.
Dude, high school is insane.
Because you could be like 8 feet tall or you could be Alfie. And you just never know. It's crazy.
Ooh. Also want to shout out the old couple in the cafe that Charlie works at.
So cute.
So sweet. They're actually a married couple.
Mm-hmm.
Just so charming. And I love that seeing, you know, an old, happily gay couple, you know, helps Charlie take a little bite. And the idea that, like, seeing these kinds of relationships are very important because it highlights that these things last and that these things work, are normal, and have always existed.
Yeah. I also love specifically in their conversation where Nick overhears them that they're talking about, I'm worried about you, and it's like a valid thing to worry about. And I think that's so perfect for where they're at, because obviously I think they both have very valid worries. They just need to like figure out a way to communicate that in a healthy way and productive way and figure out what to do with that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Love that. I love, okay, so in the book they also say the line, you know, when Charlie's talking about, I've never really thought about the future. It's like it might be at Sarah's birthday party, somewhere where there's like random adults there, and somebody says to Charlie, it's because you were busy surviving. I love that was changed to Isaac saying that. First of all, great line, but also I just love the choice of having Isaac be the one to say that instead of random family member. So, yeah.
Thank you, Uncle Daryl, for your insight.
No, actually, it might have been. I don't know. It might have been his dad. I have no idea who it was. I don't remember. Some grown man. I don't know. I like that Isaac said it. And then Biscuit the dog at the dog shelter. Oh. So cute. He was a little bit more highlighted in the book. It took him a long time to get out of his shell and actually play instead of just like sitting and being alone. And And I feel like that was such a beautiful reflection of Nick as well. How he's been so about Charlie and being the best boyfriend he can be, that he doesn't have really anything for himself, at least outside of school. Even rugby becomes like a toxic space for him. And so the dog shelter, he actually is a volunteer in the book instead of part-time. Doesn't really matter. But I love just the parallel between like him and Biscuit, how it takes him a while to like find his own. And I think that's why it's important that he goes somewhere farther away as well, because it kind of forces him to find friends and not just, always be with Charlie. And I think that's important as well. I mean, that's not for everybody, but I think that's when Charlie has like a lot for him. I think it's important for Nick to also have something for him.
And in that same vein, whenever Nick is having that conversation with his mom, and he talks about how he was never able to make real friends until Charlie, and then he goes off to go make his own little community somewhere else that Charlie gets to be a part of instead of vice versa.
Yeah.
Love that for him.
Yeah. Again, it's giving very like Summer I Turned Pretty, but like better. Anyways. Michael getting into the Olympics. Congrats, King. I'm so happy for you. Sahar and the band, and then later going solo. Also love that for you. Again, wish there was more focus on you. I agree with that. But you know what? Happy for you. They have something.
You're serving every time you're on my screen.
Exactly.
So pop off.
Isaac becoming a writer, I think, was so appropriate.
Yes.
All we needed was to print Heartstopper at the end, or Solitaire, or like something would have been like really cute, but it's okay.
No, because Charlie's saying like, okay, but you better put me in the acknowledgements, and then he's like, I'll do something like that, and then they should have cut to him writing the book, Nick and Charlie.
Yes. Alice Oseman making a cameo in that bus scene.
Again,
I see you.
Always be using that public transportation.
Yeah, and that's kind of all I had.
Ooh, it's sad, but whenever Nick is like really drunk at that bar, it like is funny, and then it's not funny. And it's exactly what Charlie says he went through, and it's like, I am exactly where you are.
I had that same experience, King.
And then him drunk Nick trying to help Elle and Tao. That was tragically funny.
That was really funny. No, he played that really well. I agree. The only small changes that we haven't talked about.
Go for it.
They mentioned that in university, I'm trying to think of what they call it there. Anyways, they, again, probably the wrong word to use, but Nick majors in psychology, which I thought was fun. And I think that's appropriate for him because he's very good at like fixing people's problems.
Surely.
Or wanting to, at least. So I hope he finds like a healthy way to do that. Let's see. There's, I would say, more focus on like everyone and their mother talks to Nick about, you're such a good boyfriend, to the point when he's writing that letter or trying to, like the introduction letter to university, and he just says, I'm a good boyfriend. It's like so sad because that's the only thing he knows about himself. It doesn't hit quite the same in the movie, but it did for me because I'm like, I know it's behind that. But it got to like the point in the book where it was like the I'm bi actually thing, where it just happened so much, where everyone is like, damn, you're such a good boyfriend, Nick. And I'm like, you gotta stop telling him that, guys. Say something else.
Wasn't there something about where they went with the pictures that was different? I thought I remembered you saying that. They like went to the beach.
No, I thought, listen, the entire book ends with them kissing in the same room they had their first kiss in Harry's house. I thought it was ending. It had the vibe that it was ending on that beach, which I liked. And at the time, I was like, I like this better. But I actually like how they wrapped it up better. I just totally forgot about proms. I forgot when we looked and there was 24 minutes left. I was like, what? You mean it's not ending here? No, they didn't really. I like totally don't remember them doing the picture thing. He still has the memory book. I don't remember him getting a disposable camera.
Oh, but he was so cute with that camera.
It was. I love that choice. I love when Charlie was on the bed. He was like,
just so quickly.
And then I actually really liked in the book they have a celebration for Charlie's 1 year of not self-harming, and I thought that was very sweet, and I wish they did that in the movie, but it's okay. Small things, nothing big. The biggest thing I've already talked about, which is they didn't have the Halloween party where Charlie was a pirate and everyone talked about how hot he looked, and I'm like, Jolok would have eaten that. How dare you rob me of that? Ugh. I don't know. At least do like a photo shoot or something. Because also Nick was like a cowboy and I thought that was really cute. And he would have rocked that as well. Elle, I believe, was a witch. And her outfit was so cute. I remember I loved her top.
You just know the cast was pissed when they read the
I
book and
know.
didn't realize they didn't film that.
I know. So upset. For Halloween, they better get back together and dress up like that. That's what I'm saying. I hope they hear this. Please. Anyways. Yeah.
Cool.
That's it.
Yeah. What else we got on our little docket?
I wanted to say, let's see. Oh, the reception. I didn't even look up the reception. I hope it's like good. It's good in our hearts.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Yeah, it's really good. You want to guess? Sorry, I guess I could just kind of
From what I remembered, I knew it was both high. Last I think it was like a 95, 94.
93, 94.
Okay.
Very close. And very, very good. And I love that. It went out with a bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I remember, I think around season 2, someone created like a draft score-esque thing, but among all of the different show critique sites, and they compared like a bunch of shows and like made a list of the top 20 highest rated shows from all different like media sites, and Heartstopper was up there. And
Lock it.
you know what? We'd love to see that.
Last but not least, I just wanted to ask kind of any other adaptations you were looking for. Now, have you read any that's not in the Heartstopper universe?
I have not.
Actually?
I haven't actually even finished Solitaire yet because I'm
Dang.
bad at reading. Bad at finding time to read, rather.
Yeah.
But yeah, I own I think 3 other books of hers, but I've not read them.
The only other one that I have even read is Loveless. That's because it's very near and dear to me. I would like love if they adapted this, but we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, but because Heartstopper, obviously that's like the series to adapt. But it would be nice. So we'll just see. We'll just see. I actually don't know if they've ever made like a TV show or movie focusing on someone who's ace. Obviously, there have been ace characters. There's like multiple in the show. Actually, I don't know. I'd have to Google that. There's probably something out there, but it's probably small and like not talked about. So, be nice, but we shall see. I would love. This is my campaign. Ignore this. My cat is ace phobic. I don't know if that's a term, but she decided to eat this. Not the one here. This is a boy. He would never. Anyway.
No, but I think that there is something very charming about Osman's work, and I think it manages to be very straightforward, but not cliche.
Yeah, and I love that so often it's very happy too, which is just nice because obviously there are plenty of stories where we queer people are like not getting happy endings or suffering a lot until then. So which is like that happens in history, of course, but it's also nice to see them happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nice to have both. Okay, we can't always have a Leviticus, which we haven't even seen that. But like, was it Cole that made the joke? It's like this is like pre-Leviticus or something. This is the prequel. Anyways, that's not a spoiler because we haven't seen it, so we don't even know. But like, yeah,
craziness. But no, I agree. I think this is one of the most uplifting queer films I've seen. And it's just truly a love letter to queer love and all of the forms it takes. And, you know, that's very important. I think some people want to see very dark and serious stories around that and tragedy, because that's what I think a lot of people see. I think that's the earliest way that queer media was able to really be taken, was as tragedy and difficult.
Either that or like I've noticed a lot of older shows, like I'm watching Sex and the City right now, and they've had multiple mentions of queer characters, but it's almost always in some sort of comedic relief kind of way. So it's nice that we've evolved instead of like one, it was like this woman like kissed a girl because she was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely straight. And I was like, okay, such a 90s show. And then that character's probably never going to show up again. So I'm glad we've evolved and made them actual people and characters with feelings and boundaries and expectations. So
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I love Heartstopper forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Alice Oseman.
Thank you so much.
Now, I would love to see, because I know that she's an author, and I don't know if inherently any of her books are going to get picked up. I feel like of the stuff that's already out, if they were interested in that, I feel like we would have heard that already.
Yeah.
But I would love for her to stay in some capacity in like queer script writing.
Yeah.
Because I think she knows how to write really great, compelling characters.
I agree.
So I would love for her to stay in that space as much as she would like to. Betty, I'll be there.
Script is written by Alice Oseman. I'm sad. The theater employees are so scared because it's like 6 months away. I'm sad. Anyways.
Yeah. What else we got?
Last but not least, I just wanted to shout out some upcoming projects for these cast members. Like I said, there's only 5 that I have on here. Kit Connor and Joe Locke obviously have the most going on. Kit Connor more than Joe Locke. He maybe has a Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. That is a project that has been filmed and I think completed and just hasn't released. And it says it's slated for this year, but we have literally no other information on that. No release date, no trailer, no teaser, no nothing. So we'll see if that ever comes out.
Yeah.
Charlie versus the Chocolate Factory.
Yes,
I feel like I've heard of that.
It's some, I think, animated adaptation of.
He is the
Charlie
voice
and
of Charlie.
Yes, I thought that was the case, and someone else notable is voicing Wonka.
You're so right. Who is that? I'm curious now. Taika Waititi is.
Oh,
Willy
that's
Wonka?
Korg.
Yeah, but I didn't think it was him. I thought it was someone else.
He does have the quirky voice.
Sure.
But dude, after his vocal work in Wild Robot, sad.
True.
So excited.
Very true. And then I think probably the biggest thing for him and most for sure thing is the Elden Ring project. That's awesome for him. I'm very, very happy. Hopefully he gets a lot of acknowledgement from that. So, and I'm sure that one will be in theaters, which will be big for him. So.
Oh, it's.
Yeah.
I think right now it's A24's most expensive film that they've been working on. So I'm very, very, very excited to see how that shapes up. It's.
Yeah.
I wonder how much up your alley it's going to be, because it's that game is written by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Ooh.
So very Game of Thrones
okay,
vibes.
so me.
Open world, fantasy,
Lord of the
witches,
Rings. Yeah.
monsters. A big part of it is, like, there's these creatures that, like, once they kill something, they get, like, the thing they kill becomes a part of their body. So there's, like, these giant grotesque creatures made of other creatures all around the world.
That's, like, right up my alley. So I'm sure I will love that. And then he also has 3 other projects. I don't know anything about these, but just want to shout them out. Something called Rapture is in pre-production. One of Us is completed, it says, and then A Long Winter is in post-production.
I've heard of A Long Winter, and I feel like I've seen screenshots of him in that because he has a really dark sweater, and he looks really depressed.
Nice. Joe Locke has 4 main upcoming projects. He has confirmed, at least. We've heard whispers he'll be in Secret Wars, but I mean, nothing's really confirmed for that yet. It says there's a Young Avengers TV show that's in pre-production. Again, we'll see, but obviously he would be in that if they do end up making that. So, and then Elsinore, he plays someone called Nicholas.
He's come full circle.
I don't know, but that's kind of really funny for him. And then the one that I have heard of, I thought he was in something that also Lola Tung was in from Some I Turn Pretty, but I might be wrong about that. And things can change. But the one I know I've heard of is the Black Church Bay one.
Yes.
Where he's going to play, it's like a weird relationship, I think, right? Or
I thought my understanding was like he was a sex worker who was made pregnant and has to birth a monster.
First of all, sign me up. That sounds actually crazy. So I'm here for whatever that is.
No, Joe Locke, I think, has a great face for horror. Like, I think I would love to see him explore in the horror space.
I agree.
Ugh.
And then, the person who plays Tao is in something called Becoming Kappa? I don't know. It's in post-production. It's a tale of love, audacity, and defiance.
Sounds like Tao.
Yeah. And then one that was very exciting was Ray Norwood, who plays Imogen.
Yes.
She is actually going to be in the upcoming season of Only Murders in the Building. She's in confirmed 2 episodes of the London setting that they'll be in. So she'll be like a slight reoccurring guest star, which is fun for her.
I'm very excited.
I saw that and I was like, wait. And it's like she was a part of a bunch of like British actors that are a part of that. So very fun. In the Pride and Prejudice TV show that is upcoming with Louis Partridge, I don't know how to say his name. Anyways, the guy from Enola Holmes that dated Olivia Rodrigo. Anyways,
yes.
He's gonna be, I think, Mr. Wickham. She is Lydia. So it says she's only in 1 episode, but it's also a mini series. So I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's fine. Good for her.
Indeed.
And then she's in some short called Fucking Run as Fast as You Can. I'm like, okay, cool. Good for you.
Love.
Last but not least, the teacher, what's his name?
Mr. Ajay?
Yes, Mr. J. He's in a TV series called First Day on Earth that is currently filming.
Perfect.
So,
And I also just saw him in Goodbye June last year. And he was very charming in it.
very fun. But yeah, I hope more of those cast members get some work as well. And that was just what I could find on IMDb. I didn't like search the deep web or something for any crumbs of anything else. It's just what IMDb had. But hopefully they'll all get something because I think they all deserve it. So, yeah.
Indeed.
I think that's it.
Alrighty. That is going to wrap up today's conversation on Heartstopper Forever. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, I'm your host, Luke.
And I'm your host, Alicia.
And thank you so much for watching. Not So Straight Nerds.
Bye.